My name is Dan Genovese, Product Manager at OMG Roofing Products, the inventors of the game-changing roofing system known as Rhino Bond. And this is the Metal Rhino Podcast, where we talk everything metal. Not heavy metal, but instead Rhino Bond for standing seam metal retrofit roofing. All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Metal Rhino Podcast Show, where we're going to talk all things Rhino Bond for standing seam metal roofing, and maybe we'll talk some Pick 6. So today we have a very special guest taking time out from his crazy busy schedule to spend some time with us. John Odenwald from Southern Illinois, Missouri, and Kansas Territory Manager. John, welcome.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thought I'd get some claps in the background from the audio guy.
Yeah, we'll see if we can pump that in, but I think that's happening anyways out there in America. So listen, John, you're an anchor in the market. We know that. And you know, when the market has a question about fasteners, adhesive, drains, power grips, pipe guards, they go to you. We know that for sure. And, you're also one of our top Rhino Bond salesmen, and you excel in converting contractors in all sorts of Rhino Bond activity, and especially standing seam metal retro. And you are here today to just talk about, what you do, maybe talk about a recent job that you were able to convert over to Rhino Bond from standing seam metal, maybe other options that are considered out there. So first of all, how are you? Are you busy right now? What's going on in the market?
No, doing good. We are busy. There's a lot going on in the Southern Illinois, Missouri, and Kansas territory. Guys are still bidding, trying to get those last jobs in before the end of the year and get off to a good spring. So far it looks like work is going to be there for the next several months and going into 2025. So just finishing out the year strong and
Yep.
Hopefully that continues.
Do you see a return to normalcy after COVID? Because I know after there was a couple of years of just craziness, and now it seems to have settled down into a nice, steady pre-COVID kind of action. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, for the most part, everything's back to normal. There's a few materials that are 2-3 weeks out, which is back in COVID times would have been great lead times. But for the most part, guys have even kind of fallen back into the, we got the job next week, we're going to order it a week out and get the material when they need it. Which I wish that they would go back to maybe like a 2 or 3 week lead time on that. But it's good to see that material is back to where it needs to be, and guys aren't waiting 6, 8, and 10 plus weeks for material. Excellent.
So you got a pretty strong pulse on your market. So the reason we're here again is to talk about Rhino Bond and standing seam metal roofing. So tell us a little story about a recent project you were on or you had a hand in. The world wants to know what's going on.
Yeah, so a project I had not too long ago was with Tech Contracting out of St. Louis. They're one of my bigger Rhino Bond contractors. They love the system. Any chance they get to use it, they push it. A recent job we had, it was for an electrical warehouse. They were out there on their own at first. Stuart Kimball with Tech was meeting with the building owner. And during the discussion, he kind of asked him, what roof systems are you looking at? What would you like to see? They initially went towards coatings, just wanting to go ahead and paint some stuff on there, get it done. And then another option was going to be full adhering, flute film, full adhering. And then, during the course of their conversations, Stuart asked and said, have you ever considered Rhino Bond? The building owner wasn't too sure exactly what that was. Stuart went through a quick explanation of what Rhino Bond was, and at the end of the day, the building owner really liked the thought of Rhino Bond, the thought of actually attaching that membrane into a structural purlin versus just having it glued throughout. So that's kind of a quick breakdown on how it got to Rhino Bond.
Right. And I think it's important, the fact that it's a electrical supply. So there's some pretty important stuff in there. And we all know that, standing seam metal roofs, they start out good like any roof, but then after a few years, the seams start to separate and they start to rust, and that's where the problems begin. And you got to protect your stuff, and especially electrical supply. That's pretty important stuff, but that's great that he was able to upsell, and plus the fact that, it's a much better system mechanically attaching. And I believe they were going into the purlins. Is that what they were doing?
Correct. Yes, they attached into the purlins. That's one of their go-tos for Kozatec. They've been doing standing seam roofs going into the purlins I've been with the company for 8 years, and ever since I've dealt with them, that's the way they like to go. It's something their crews know, they understand, they're quick at it. Structurally, they know that they're not going to have to worry about fasteners pulling out. The joke really is if the roof is gone, then the building's gone.
True. So true. Yeah, and especially fastening into just the steel pan, 24, 26 gauge. It's not very good. Compared to fastening into purlins, you're getting some tremendous pull values. And plus, I imagine they have to use half sheets and things like that, which can drive up cost. And from what I understand, it was a fairly small crew, right? Is that what they run with?
Yeah, so I would say traditionally they probably have 3 to 4 on a crew on a job this size, and I think looking back, I think it was only about 100 squares, maybe 200 square roof.
Right.
And they utilize it. One of their main benefits that they like of using Rhino Bond, you're talking about half sheets and things of that nature. They don't have to do that. They believe it saves them time on just putting the product down. They feel that they're saving on their material, less waste. Don't have to get the half sheet. So overall, they just feel it's a better system. And when they go to their customers, it's one of the driving systems that they put out there.
Right. So how long does it take for a contractor to get acclimated with Rhino Bond? They've never done it before. I can't imagine you have many contractors left in your market that don't do it. So how long does it normally take to get it?
Yeah, fairly quickly. I've had crews. Lots of times what it is, you'll have a company that's been doing Rhino Bond for many years, and they'll get a new crew. As you know, the transition to sub crews now has been kind of the way of the land, especially in the Midwest. So it's not necessarily the companies are new to it. It's more or less and for the most part, crews within, a couple days are very well versed in the tool. They understand what's going on. But I would say after that first project, guys that really take and invest their time into understanding the system, and from that point on, it's just smooth sailing. But traditionally, if it's a new crew, I'll go up there for the first day or so, work with them. I kind of, give them the instructions to begin with, best practices, and kind of let them go and run and work. And then, kind of give them, a couple hours, see how they're doing it, and then come back, give a few more best practices. But for the most part, it's a fairly quick learning curve on it. And then once the guys truly buy into it, it's when, they take off and they really excel with the system.
You're like our other 35, 40 territory managers on roofs every day, doing job starts, pull tests, helping them out. So that's great. And contractors love you. And you multiply it times 35, 40 guys. That's what we do. We help contractors. We help them make money. And in particular, we really do take the time to convert these projects that have important stuff in their buildings and these standing seam metal roofs and while the panels might be fine over time, it's those seams that can crack and expand and contract, and that's where the problems start. And really, that's where Rhino Bond comes in. So, you do a great job, and we're honored to have you. We're honored to have you on our show today. And any last words for us?
Well, I appreciate your words. Thanks for having me. Yeah, no, there, like you said, there's 40 of us throughout the country, and when it comes down to it, we're really just educating the contractor, the building owner, and once they have the information and see what the product does and the system does, it's a pretty easy decision for them to make, especially as we start getting into these winter months. It keeps guys rolling, keeps guys working, lets you put a roof on when it's 15 degrees outside or 20 degrees, and really has the flexibility to let guys continue to work throughout the winter months. So
yeah,
no, I appreciate you having me on the show, and look forward to seeing it released.
Absolutely. You make all great points, and again, we're honored to have you, and thank you so much for your time, and we'll let you get back to work, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, thanks, Dan. Have a great weekend.
You too. Go Raiders.
Go Browns.
See ya.
Bye.